Today's my talk title is Indian Knowledge System, Quantum Consciousness Theory, and Paradigm Shift. I belong to this team. This is a team of a quantum consciousness theory group. The person who is sitting next to me is Dr. Roger Penrose, who received the Nobel Prize in 2020 with the study of the black hole. And the person who are sitting in front of me is Dr. Stuart Hameroff. With him, I've been living in the same house last 3 years and doing the experiment and research from morning till night. And I travel all over the world to Brazil, India twice, Japan twice. So I spend so much time with him, and now I'm an organizer of the world's biggest conference on human consciousness. It is called Science of Consciousness Conference. This year it happened in Barcelona. Next year it's going to be happening in Tucson, Arizona, where the university is, and it's from April 6th to 11th. And I have 9 research projects that I'm doing, finding the neural correlates of consciousness. This is a neural correlate of consciousness is trying to find where in the brain does the consciousness emerges. And I did the experiment last year with the mice. This is awake mice. You see the signal. This is a high frequency brainwave machine, and it detects 6 to 26 megahertz oscillations. And when the mice is anesthetized, it's going to be flat. And then I did an experiment in a hospital with a patient under general anesthesia. And this was when he was awake. And after the injection of general anesthesia, in 4 minutes, signal became flat. So that means consciousness emerges not by the neuron, but inside the neuron. It is a quantum effect inside the microcomputer, because the general anesthesia only dampens the quantum effect. Because after general anesthesia, neurons are still rapidly moving. So nobody was able to detect the mechanism. Why does the general anesthesia work? Because this is when you are conscious, regular brainwave machine, it's going to be like this. And when you're under anesthesia, it's going to be like a delta. And no locative consciousness. So I'm doing one finding neural correlates of consciousness was successful. 2, detecting mechanism of general anesthesia, it was successful. 3, validating non-locality of consciousness. If I could validate with all the evidence, it's going to make a complete paradigm shift into this civilization. It's going to prove if it's a non-locality of consciousness is true, what has been written in the scripture going to be true. It's going to be true. Because if it's consciousness is happening with the quantum effect, that means we are all connected together. We call it quantum consciousness. We all share the one consciousness, and that's going to be validated scientifically with my first one, second experiment, and third experiment. My third experiment, because I'm also Indian has a tradition of transmission of awakening or enlightenment for at least 1,400 years. Because this scripture was written 1,400 years ago. And I'm also a famous spiritual teacher in Japan. I do the Shakti Path workshop every Sunday. And participants are 100 to 200 participants. This was in Barcelona. I do it all over the world. This was in January in Japan. 170 participants. I could transmit in 5 kinds of ways. One is eye gazing, Second is meditation. Third is through touching. Four is through the voice. Five is through intention. And this was written on the scriptures as well. First they checked my brainwave in Tokyo University. It was completely different because I spent 15 years in India doing all kinds of spiritual practice. On the 10th year, I reached immense awakening. So my brainwave was delta and gamma, which is very, very unusual. Delta only comes up when you are in a deep sleep without the dream. Gamma, usually the person cannot sustain it for a second. But I could sustain, and I did the Shakti, transmissions of awakening experiment with my teacher, Dr. Sweat Hamrao in Tokyo University, 10 out of 10 times. I was dramatically able to synchronize my gamma level to the Dr. Sweat Hamrao. And this is a data when I'm transmitting, only gamma. If I'm do the transmission for many hours, I could sustain only the gamma. And this I use in my workshop, Mystical Experience Questionnaire. More than 100 academic papers have been written. This is 30 questions and you put 0 to 5 and calculate 150 is the maximum point. It's going to evaluate how much profound awakening experience that you have. Loss of your usual sense of time, experience of amazement, sense of experience. And in my workshop, average score was 81. If it's more than 90, it is considered authentic, very strong awakening experience. And 45.5 participants get the score higher than the 90 points. So average point was 81. This is a really significant data, biggest data on the evidence of the non-locality of consciousness. So it got proved. And we did the EEG study before my workshop. After my workshop, usually became much higher than 3 times more. Yeah, this is a time scale. We came to find out not only from 0 to 100 Hz, a regular EEG machine, but from even the kilohertz, megahertz, gigahertz oscillation, we could detect the brainwave. And I went to Stanford University and I was able to detect the photon coming out from my eye when I do the transmission. So through these experiments, and then I have to do the double slit experiment. And this is when I'm checking my brainwave. So these evidence of the high frequency brainwave and also MAQ30, because number of the people is 100 to 200, and my friend tried to explore the possibility of validating non-locality of consciousness through the telepathy, experimental telepathy, but telepathy is 1 to 1. But my condition is 1 to 100 and 200. We got huge data before this brainwave, before and after, and MAQ30, and if I do the double stick, it's going to be a complete evidence. And my other research is trying to detect mechanism of a photon entanglement between human beings. And I'm doing it through the photon experiment from my eye, and also the biophoton detector became very affordable. It's only $2,000 in Japan. And if I synchronize with the brainwave passing, in a millisecond, it's going to be the first quantum biological signature in the world. Nobody was able to detect it up to now. So this is how I detect the mechanism of a quantum entanglement between human beings. And sixth, finding a way to overcome mental issues without medication. This is one of my main research. I think I don't have time to talk about this. This is a map of awakened consciousness. And here, downside, length of breathing. You could measure how happy you are. Level 1. I collaborate with many hospitals. All the patients who come to the mental hospital breathing is less than 5 seconds. Inhale, exhale, I count as 1 during the meditation or relaxed state. So I don't have time to go into these. So I'm going to talk more about my other researches. You know, there are more than 100 books written about neuroscience of awakening and meditation. And one thing we haven't detected is the moment of awakening, what happened to the brain. Because awakening happened very few times in a life, so we couldn't put the person into the fMRI when they were in the shifting to the awakening. But so next project, I'm trying to find what happened to the brain, neural correlates of enlightenment. So we were able to detect it's a quantum effect. Awakening is also a quantum effect because with a high frequency brainwave machine, when I'm in deep meditation, it's going to be so big and never going to be recorded like this. So we came to find out, and this oscillation, it's a quantum effect, 6 to 26 megahertz, because we did the in vitro experiment of detecting the frequency of the microtubules quantum effect. It was a megahertz oscillation. So that's my research and science of awakening, science of happiness. I found a way to measure how happy that person is through HRV and through the length of the breathing, and with using the high frequency brainwave machine, you could detect precisely how deep your meditation is. Whether you are awakened or not, how deep your awakening is. Precisely, I was able to find out these measurements. Yeah, this is a HRV. This is taken in my IIT Mandi campus. They're the expert of this in my campus. And they were really surprised. They never ever seen this signal before, because my breathing at that time was 30 seconds of breath, and usually nobody could sustain 30 seconds of breath. And my other research is detecting quantum biological signature in human brain. And I got the offer to collaborate. In Japan, biology is very big and advanced, and we have a Center for Quantum Biological Study, which have 100 scientists. So I received a lot of offers to collaborate. So with these new technologies, we could easily detect the quantum effect inside the brain with two machines. I'm not going to say about which machines. So with validating all of these, I could validate the quantum consciousness theory, which gonna change the civilization completely. This is my research, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Professor.